Hello, good day to all my fellow travelers, friends, and photographers around the world. Welcome to Chris Lee Travel Channels. In today's episode, I will sharing with you the third episode of my travel journey to Iran, and we'll be covering a new city of the name Kazan. And in this city of Kazan, I will share with you three interesting places. Namely, first and foremost, is a very beautiful Persian home, and the name of this home is called Tabatabi House. And I'm going to bring you to another place of interest, very popularly known as the Persian Garden. And in this garden, the name of this garden is called the Finn Gardens. And lastly, of today, I'll bring you a very unique mosques. Now, this mosque is hard to find in Iran, even in terms of design. And the name of this mosque is called Aqua Bozor Mosque. So this will be our journey today in this Kazan city. So Iran is has been shown in these maps, and we are now traveling still between the Isfahan province, and our location is here. The city of Kazan is as shown in this map, and in terms of relation to distance in relation to Tehran, this is the position of this Kazan, which is much toward the northern section now of Iran. And this Kazan city is our last stop of our journey in Iran. So let's start off with our tour of this beautiful house. But before that, I need to share with you about this Kazan city. Now, Kazan city is actually a desert city situated in the northern part of Isfahan province, as I shared with just now on the map. Now, it was an important center for the productions of high quality pottery and tiles. The city is famous for its beautiful houses built in the 19th century. Now, Kazan have a cold desert climate with cold winters, although warmer than other Iranian cities, and hot as well. Sometimes very hot summer. Kazan is significantly warmer than other cities in Iran plateaus due to its lower elevation. Now, its climate is somewhat, I should say, similar to Qom, another city, just like the city of Yat. Now, the site of Wing Tower is everywhere in this city. In other words, in a very hot desert city, Wind Tower is one of the typical characteristic of the city. And now we are moving on to this very beautiful Tabatabi house, as can be seen in this image. Now, this is image showing the courtyard, the largest courtyard of this Tabatabi house. But before we proceed further with the image, let's have some background of this Tabatabi house. Now, this Tabatabi's house is also known as Kare-i Tabatabi Ha in Persian language, right? And is a historical house turned museum, and is located at the center of Kazan City, Old City District. Now, it is an architectural so-called masterpiece and one of the most prominent historical houses of Kazan, which beside two other, namely the Amery House and Boruch Jadi House. In other words, there are three very famous, beautiful Persian houses in this city. So let's look at the image. This is another view of this huge courtyard. And this house belonged to an affluent carpet merchant of the name Sayyid Jafar Tabatabai, which took 10 years to build and was completed in the year 1834 during the Khwaja era. Now, this historical Persian home, which built below ground level with an internal orientated and symmetrical design. So I want you to pay attention on the design later on. It has 40 rooms and 200 doors. Now, 3 courtyards, 4 basement or they call it cell, and 3 wind towers serving the entire buildings, and 2 water canals, and a landscape garden that hold 2 fountain pools in it, as can be seen in this image now, and is basically in this largest courtyard now. All this contained within a land area of 4,730 square meter. Just a large house, right? And the canals are for bringing water to the fountain pools. Now, this house is distinctively divided into 2 zones, right? And the public area they call Bironi. They call it Bironi, which and private quarters, and an area section called private quarter they call it Andaroni, which basically for women only. Now, which was the key feature of Iranian traditional residential architectures, right? It is also divided into 3 main sections, namely the family sections, the business section, as well as the servant section. Now, in terms of design and architectural style, right, the house presented a symmetrical architecture with meticulously detailed embellishment, which served to illustrate, right, the high social status of the owner, and also an outstanding reflections of the lifestyle of Kazan wealthy family. So every corner of the house are well decorated with stone relief, elaborated stucco plastering works, mirrors, and stained glass work, which all of these I'm going to share with you in my subsequent images. Also intricate carved wooden doors and windows, as well as painting of the famous artist of the name Mirza Abu Hassan Seni Omar, right? And all this, they demonstrate the key features of Persian architectures. So let's move on with the image and I explain more to you. So this is of course the largest courtyard. As I mentioned, there are 3 courtyards. This is the largest one, and in this courtyard there are 2 fountain pools. And you look around, it's actually the design of both left and right are identical. It's symmetrically laid out, right? And a closer view of that. Now you start to observe carefully on the external facade of this building, and you can see there's a start of stucco plaster. The stucco plaster is very, very interesting. And the staircase that you see here is leading to the underground cell or basement. So this is one of the main building, right? And you look at it, the stucco plaster is surface on all corner of the building. And you just pay attention to the carved wooden doors and windows on all these images. All works have been done excellently, and I could consider is a masterpiece at all corners. Every corner they have non-identical design. All these are closer views of the stucco decoration on the wall. And the Iranians Islamic value also been bring into this house. It can be seen in this image. This is just only a foyer, a main foyer, or you can say a balcony area, right? And you can see even the ceiling work was so intricately done with all the stucco plaster. The ceiling above, the passageways linking the rooms, some of the decoration on the wall. This is another courtyard, a much smaller one. And you notice actually at the right bottom, there's one door leading to the basement. This is where exactly at each courtyard itself, they have actually a leading door to the cell below. The window works, the wooden, the craft window works. And now you can see the door right below the window and door above. And important that you can notice here, the flora design of Persian rugs could be found on the wall of this house, right? And because if you were to visit, go to the Iran market bazaar, and you find that the carpet design, they're using the design of this flora design is seemed to be very popular, among the carpet manufacturer. They use this flora design. And the elaborated window, particularly around the courtyard and also the garden area, is also a particularly wonder, all right? A very unique masterpiece of this historical house, and which is also been called the bride of the Iran historical houses. And let's move on to one of the building internal. What we see so far are all mainly the exterior facade of this beautiful house. And one thing to note is that this big complex house, right? They didn't have external window. All the external window, all the building, they have actually built in a very, they built this building along the perimeter of the lands, and they didn't have any windows. All windows are open inward toward the courtyard. I was made to understand that this is one of the security measures taken by the house owner. And now we are moving into one of the main hall of this building, and this is the view of the wall as well as the ceiling works. It's super impressed. I mean, by when we went inside itself, we can't stop ourselves from pressing the shutters button of my cameras. And in fact, we took many images in this building hall interiorly. And here you notice that this row of windows, double layer, and the upper layer is actually using the stained glass window, It's very outstanding. And also in certain section of this room, again you can see all these beautiful, colorful stained glass window. And if you have been followed to my travelogues all this while, both in Series 1 as well as Series 2, you will notice that I like to capture image of the door. And you can see that this the building is more than 100 years old. And you can see the ironmongeries on the door is very, very interesting. And you look carefully, there's the door knocker, and the door knocker is not the same. The left and right is not the same. Normally the door knocker you place on the door, on a pair door, you always make it the same, identical on both sides. But in this case in Iran, they always make it different from one another. And for those who have been following my travelogues, I think you understand why is the purpose of this door knocker being made into two different design. Now the image on the right, right, on the right, right most of this image is actually a door knocker for the male visitor to knock on, and while on the left is for the lady visitor to knock on. Because of the design, the metal piece is not the same. When they knock on the door knocker will produce different sound, right? So, and then from the owner will then know the visitor is either a male visitor or a female visitor. If a male visitor, then probably the male the male owner will come out to greet the guest. If it's a lady, then a lady owner will come out to greet the guest. This is how they practice in Iran. So you can see the door at the center, and I show you the both left and right. This the two different type of door knocker been used by different sexes of the visitor. So another doors and with also different design, but the concept is still the same. And now we move on to this Fin Garden. Now, a Fin Garden is an historical Persian gardens which built during the Safavid era and was completed in the year 1590. Right, that means it's about 400 years ago. It is situated in the city of Khasan of Isfahan province. Now, the Fin Garden is part of the UNESCO Persian Gardens World Heritage Site awarded in the year 2019. For your info, when they get awarded by the UNESCO under the title of Persian Garden, altogether there are 9 gardens in Iran being grouped together to get this award. Right? Now, the garden covers an area of 2.3 hectares of land, and within the garden contain Khasan Fin Bath. Right, it's a very popular bath taken by the Khasan people a few hundred years ago. Is one of the oldest surviving garden in Iran. Now, the uniqueness of this Fin Garden is its water feature. The water was fed from a spring, all right, and on a hillside behind the gardens, and then the water pressure was somehow managed and maintained in such a manner that a large number of circulating pool and fountain, right, could be construct and serve and function normally without the use of any form of mechanical means of pumping. In other words, you can see the flowing water in these Fin Gardens from pool to pool through all these linking canals, right? Is by no means rely on any form of mechanical mean of pumping, or by natural water supply from the spring behind the hill. And the building structures and decoration in this garden again exhibiting strong influence of the architecture style of Safavid era, Zandiya era, as well as Qajar era. So, in other words, these buildings architectures are comprised of two different eras in Iran history. So let's have a look at the image. Now this is a map showing the location of the Fin Garden. You can see that the buildings at the center, the green area is, and in between the green area, they found that there's seem like a linking path. At the middle of linking path, you can see a line, and all these lines are actually all the water canals, right? And then they link it to few of the pool found between these gardens. So this is how you look like. You know, you have a walking pathway, and at the center of the walking pathway, you can see that is a canals and drain, we call it, whichever you like to call it, and it's been served by the spring water. This is basically the entrance to these Fin Gardens. And inside, look around, this is the only main building right at the center of the Fin Gardens, and is where also the Kazan Fin Bath are located. A very beautiful landscape gardens. And when we enter to this building, and inside the building itself, they also have pool, right? Fountain pool. And you can look at the decoration on the supporting pillars as well as the roof of this building. And as usual, we found painting on the wall. And we move inner, we found another big pool. Some of the tile works at the exterior of these Fin Gardens. As well as the door to this Fin Garden is also been equipped with this very unique door knocker. By now you know which is for the male to knock on, which is for the female to knock on. And they make up some wax figure to exhibit, because this Fin Gardens is not only a place for people to take bath, but also I was told at once it also become a jail, a jail. So this is some of the image of the Fin Bath at one section of this museum. And now we move on to our last stop of today in this Kazan. Is a very unique mosque called Aqaba Bozorg Mosque, right? Now, Aqaba Bozorg Mosque is a historical mosque again in Kazan. It was built in the 18th century. Now, solely for the purpose of prayers, preaching, and teaching of Mullah Muhammad Narahi, which is popularly known as Aqaba Bozorg, as where the name of this mosque is named after this person. Now, some say this mosque is the finest Islamic complex of Kazan, and one of the best in the 19th century for its symmetric city of design. Let's see the image later on and see whether it's true or not. Right? Now the mosque is basically a two-story building, and it consists of two large iwan, right? One in the front of the mihrab, and there's one at the back, all right? And and at the entrance, sorry, it's not at the back, at the entrance, right? So look at the image, I will share with you more. Now you can look at this image now. You realize that we are coming in, when we're coming into this mosque itself, we are literally on the first floor level. You can see there's a sunken courtyard, right? So we are coming in, and the two-story, in the sense that there's one of the story is like a basement, right? In a way sunken, two level, then they build up. So it's rarely found this type of construction design of this mosque in anywhere in Iran. It's except only in here. So that's why I say it's very unique. So this is some of the image of this E1, right? Or call it I1, they call it I1. And this I1 itself, they have two minaret, and this basically is the entrance, right? And you notice that in the sunken courtyard, there's many rooms. These are the rooms, just like a classroom, something like classroom, for them to for teaching. So they conduct their teaching of Islamic study in this mosque at this sunken courtyard area. So here you found that there are two wind tower. For those who have not been follow my travelogue, you may wonder what is called wind tower. Now you can see now there are two pillar type building on both left and right. Right at the center is I1s, right, a double story I1s. Then you found that left and right, the two pillar type structure are called the wind tower. It serves as a ventilation purposes, to cool down the internal building temperatures with the use of the winds and water curtains that built inside. So therefore you notice that, as I mentioned, the courtyard has a sunken second courtyard in the middle, right, which contain a gardens, right, and a fountain, which could not be found elsewhere in Iran. And the front I1 or E1 or I1 has one of the biggest brick mixed dome, right, as can be seen in this image now, which stand on 8 pillars and comprises of 2 layers and 2 mirrors, right? And while the back I1 have 2 wind tower, which just now you have seen, that stood symmetrically on both sides of the I1. The main entrance metal door, alright, is also another attraction. Let's look at this dome first, brick dome. So this is basically the rooms, and this is actually the metal door I just mentioned to you, is another attractions of this mosque. So this end my travelogue for today, and I thank you for staying until this hour with me, right? And if you have been entertained and you have not been subscribed to my channel, please do so, and give me a like and a thumb ups, and share to your friend and family, so that they can be like you, travel virtually, all right, around the world at the comfort of their homes. So next week at the same time, we shall see again, each other again on my fourth episode of my travel journey to Iran, right? And please stay safe and stay strong. And bye.